Go up.
Just hold that thought, Nick. You're doing
Yeah,
great.
okay.
You got it.
This is gonna end so badly. Hey, how's it going? We got about 30 days till SEMA.
Getting into what we were pulling out was, I mean, we had to pull the wiper motors out of the windshield cowl because that had to get cut. Chopstick operation. Come on. Chopsticks. We had to pull all of the factory harness. First, we just pulled the engine harness. Well, in the MJ and XJs, as some of you guys know, the engine harness is kind of tied into the body harness. So we basically just decided to sacrifice all of it and pull it all out and just start from basically a bare metal shell. Just be free, thank you. Add it to the rat's nest pile. Channel locks will work. Try our hardest not to let it touch the gray and tan stuff in here. Ew. All right, some 80s technology. Come out of the hole. There you go. We pulled the steering column, the brake booster. I guess anything that was on either side of the firewall, whether it was the inside or outside of that firewall, it had to come off because we knew we were gonna have a lot of cutting.
Go for it. There we go.
That feels promising.
Yeah.
I know you said you're slow and steady, but all I'm seeing so far is slow.
It's like almost there. Just give me 10 more minutes.
Let me go take my lunch break.
Attaboy, Angel. Oh no, he's...
Where'd it go, dude?
Right here.
Unfortunately, this will no longer be a manual. It's leaking, Dennis.
It's got gas in it?
Yeah, it somehow the gas is reproducing. There hasn't been a tank in this thing for a couple weeks now. Good thing this vehicle is Scotia related, man. It comes with built-in phone holders while I work. What in the... Dude, they've been looking for Bigfoot. Have you seen him? Now, as far as body pieces, as you guys can see behind me, there's no body panels left on the thing. This thing was in very rough shape as an MJ. And as you guys know, MJs are very rare. So to find another MJ as a donor almost felt sacrilegious on the Jeep platform, because like, why tear apart an MJ when we already have kind of a clapped out MJ to begin with? So with that being said, there's a billion XJ Cherokees out there. So we're actually taking the entire front clip off of a Jeep Cherokee XJ to put on the front end of this MJ. For the most part, it's all bolt-on, except, you know, some of the door strikers and like minor things that you wouldn't really think about until you get involved in it. But for the most part, it's pretty bolt-on and plug and play. When we first looked at the size of this V8 in comparison to that inline six that was in it, we did know we were going to sacrifice some of the length, the overall length of the motor. However, this motor is a lot wider. With that being said, we did have to take out your brake booster, your steering column, all of that stuff had to get removed just to test fit this motor. It was a lot more invasive than I think any of us really thought it was gonna be. Where's the hammer? There's the hammer. It's out of there, Dennis. Now checking back in on that Mickey Thompson Gladiator, we got our links in from Icon, which will allow us to tie those axles back onto the Jeep and get us one step closer to finishing. We finally got our links in for the Mickey Thompson Jeep Gladiator. These links come from Icon Vehicle Dynamics and are much beefier than your factory set. They feature an adjustable lower rear link as well as an upper front, which will give you the ability to adjust the pinion angle on your Jeep while retaining the factory axle location. I'm gonna get started with the rear end now. But in order to do that, I have to lift the Jeep up a little bit, which means that I gotta strap this front axle because it's currently not mounted to anything. That pretty much will sum up the rear of this. Now we'll move on to the front. Come on. We also got all of our pieces back from Powder Coat for that Moto-Built roof rack and was able to get that on the vehicle. This roof rack went together super easy. It looks great and will give us plenty of storage on this Jeep. You're gonna put this guy up here like this. You're gonna line your liner holes up here. You're gonna take your clampy clamp and you're gonna, oh yeah, you're gonna clamp like that, and then you're gonna put your bolts in. So in my opinion, an MJ should not have a V8 for numerous reasons. However, it's pretty badass. So the first run was super sketchy. I was on the forklift, we had Nick, we had Angel, we had all hands on deck trying to get it into the chassis. Now at one point it was like super angled, not ideal. We had like a chain on it and a couple straps. At one point Nick was hanging from it trying to like counterbalance the thing. We got 1 Nick horsepower.
Let's see if that works. Hang on, turn the other way.
I'm gonna go way back and then reposition.
You're good. We're clear now. We knew that we were wanting to put a Gen 5 LT in this thing because this is gonna see a lot of road time. We wanted a 10-speed transmission because it'll get great gas mileage, plus 10 speeds have a super low first gear. I didn't know if it was gonna work, so we grabbed the engine and trans and everything and just kind of shoved it in there, really. Come down a little bit. All right, it's in the tunnel. Perfect. All right, go down a little bit. Go down as you go forward. Hold right there.
The rear has to come up because it'll level it out and let it go down.
Okay, you're good now. Come down. You've got tons of room. That's definitely not gonna work in there now. We went to slide this thing in there and we did not realize how much bigger an LT is than like an LS, so to say. And this thing is just massive width-wise. Trying to drop this thing in there, we realized real soon how much of that firewall has to go, how much of the tunnel has to go. We want that to be at least 4 inches back from where it is right now. We need to get the dash and everything ripped out and nicely. And then I'm gonna mark in here where I want you guys to start cutting the floor out in here. And we're just gonna put a brand new tunnel in there.
Ready for another day of cutting? Don't look too thrilled, dude. Just hold that thought, Nick. You're doing great.
Okay.
You got it.
This is gonna end so badly.
You're doing great. Push the Jeep back, Angel.
All right, bring her down so I can get down. Don't ever do that.
So once we got this thing down into the tunnel, that transfer case that's mounted to that 10-speed is a lot bigger than your factory transfer case. Now, it rubbed everything. So we marked out a couple things. We cut a pretty decent sized square in the floor for the actual actuator on that transfer case to be able to plug in and unplug with ease. All right, here we go. So I didn't realize this When someone says there's a cross brace, usually means it goes across, not there. So I should have just cut back here and cut this all out. So I guess we're gonna cut the cross brace in half. It's me. All right, Dennis. Hi. Hey. So if you look, now we have a hole in our floor. Once we got the transfer case tucked up against the tunnel, the motor had to come up. Well, the problem was the cowl was in the way. So we did some measuring, did some marking, started cutting. Throughout the whole process of me cutting things, measuring things, I did have Nick alongside me, but he was also over on our welding table making shock towers that were going to be integrated into the unibody and being plated. That way it could hold the weight of this vehicle as well as the new motor.
What we had in there for a coil and spring setup was not going to obviously work. We needed to go coil over so we have some adjustability, but we had to reinforce everything to do that. Ironman Fab is one of those companies that a lot of our ambassadors have used in the past. It's kind of a kit in a way. I kind of went in there, built these things out. It comes in a pretty simple setup. You bolt it all together, then you weld it all together, then you take your bolts out and you're done. What I did is, once I got to that point, I went and looked where my coils were on the vehicle, and then that's where I centered everything for the coilover and started cutting everything from there.
So once we got the motor as close to mock-up as we could, we did notice that it needed to go down. Now, we were already against our front axle, so we knew we weren't gonna keep the front axle under it, so we might as well get rid of the front axle so we could put the motor where it needed to be.
This was a straight axle before, but we're kind of beefing everything up. We're gonna be running a Dynatrac 44 front and a Dynatrac 60 rear on this. But connecting that to a set of 2.5-inch 14 coilovers from King by BP, so we want to make sure that everything we're doing is going to be supporting this vehicle.
Beautiful! So once we got that front axle off, we kind of had a good idea to just put the motor underneath the MJ, because the MJ was on a lift, it can go up and down. So we got the motor situated underneath the MJ, and as I started to lower the MJ, I realized that the motor is wider than the unibody was, which meant some more measuring. It was actually just tabs on the bottom of the unibody that were that were narrower than the motor. So we went ahead and cut those out so we could lower the MJ around the motor. I think I'm gonna go up to the first locks. Stop right there for now, till we get Nick's eyes.
Go grab the hood. Can you lift that hood by yourself?
Of course I can.
Once we get the motor in and we have this vehicle drop down on top of it, one of the things we noticed real quick was we thought we had cut enough out, but we actually needed to slide it back a little bit further because of the height of the engine. The hood was coming into contact with it.
Yeah, you're the older.
Oh, the older, younger kids?
Yeah. Now you dented the hood right there, bro.
Well, the hood ain't closing.
Hey, guess what? That's still hitting the hood.
Yeah,
No, we're not doing a scoop. Be quiet. Just because you worked at AutoZone and you want to throw 50 things like accessories, we could throw like some of those chrome flames on it too.
here's the thing, Nick. We
Bunch of
don't do a
stickers.
scoop, we do a cowl.
Same difference.
And I'd rather it slide back further than have to go higher or lower, because I don't want it to get into the suspension too much and I don't want to do anything to the hood.
We need to go back like a lot.
Well, let's do that first. Let's do it.
Hang on. Pull the hood. You're gonna have one quick cut to make before you slide it so that you don't have to move it again.
This is scary.
Just drop it right there. Drop it repeatedly right there. So this is gonna have to get cut.
take this down to here, like right where it levels out and starts that, yeah. Take that all the way to here on this side of that unibody. Don't cut the unibody right there, okay? But then from this unibody right here, from the side of this frame rail, come up on an angle to here and take all this corner out.
So after I made those second cuts, we got it back down to where it needed to be, made sure to center it, make sure it was straight for these custom motor mounts.
Ooh, look at that, saddles it.
This is sitting on it?
Where'd my flashlight go? Oh, it's over here.
I don't know. Hoodie hood.
All right, be nice.
Gentle. Careful, SpongeBob.
Oh, where are we at, Dennis? We got fit in there, dude. Slap right there.
So if we leave it right where it's at, we have an inch of clearance.
This way.
1, 2.
You gotta go up more. There we go.
So that is a Gen 5 5.3 liter with a 10-speed automatic transmission and a factory transfer case, basically like an Escalade setup shoved in an MJ.
Well, we're back over here at the Mickey Thompson Gladiator. As you can see, we finally got everything to complete it, hopefully. So we're gonna get right into it, get this thing out of the shop finally. Now this Gladiator, you know, from the everyday person might look like a boring, basic black Jeep Gladiator, but in my opinion, those new 42s make this thing pop. Victorious. There it is. Getting this Jeep done was such a relief. We got one vehicle out of the shop, done, ready for SEMA. We still got a lot to get done in a little amount of time, but it definitely felt good getting this Gladiator done.
All right, so if you've enjoyed this, make sure you're staying along. Our next move is gonna be putting in all the suspension, towers, all that kind of stuff. Probably doing a lot of reinforcing to this frame. We don't know how to do it, never done it before. It's gonna be a trial by error process. Check out the next video, it's gonna be pretty cool.
Into the unknown. Hello. Come with me. It's me. Hello. Who's your man? Who's your man, Dennis?
You are, Kyle.
Is that a 4-letter word? I was concerned. I got my heartache medication. Let me help my stupid self.